We probably don't want this up because then they're going to be seeing double of us. Yeah? No? Yeah.
Why would they see anything? We're not streaming our desktop.
Are we not?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I forgot.
Dirt.
Shh. Sir. Alright, I'm going to need you to stop.
Alright, so anyways.
Alright, so. We're mental messed up.
Oh, the guy's totally not Andy.
Not Andy.
Okay.
Alright. Not Andy. Well.
Hi, not Andy.
Hi, not Andy.
Hi.
Nice. Thank you for stopping into the stream. But no, we're mental messed up. We have been playing.
Well, that's Will.
Yeah.
This is Mike.
Yeah.
Will, Mike.
Yeah. I'm. Will. Will. Yeah.
Yes.
Will. Mike. All right.
Totally disorganized.
We've been playing Magic. I've been playing for about 13 years. Mike's been playing about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awkward due to like 10-year age gap between us.
Look, man, we're not gonna talk about this, okay? All right, we're just.
Yeah, we are.
Can we just not talk about age?
Moving along.
All right. But the main task for this stream or this episode segment is we're gonna be kind of going over GP Charlotte.
Indeed.
We're gonna be talking about what we expect to see, kind of the meta, how it's shifting since Eldrazi have kind of gone away after the Eye of Ugin ban. I was kind of surprised to see it go completely away. I was wondering if anyone was going to try to make some janky list only using Eldrazi temples. But it is definitely no. It's something that I would have done, right? I would have tried to make a janky list only using temples. But
all we do is play 100% straight jank.
Yeah, I mean all of the decks that I play are just jankiness, and somehow I managed to pull games out of my rear end. Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Alright.
And then insult you for not doing the same thing.
Why did you do that? That's the exact same thing you would have done.
I know, but I would have done it and won.
Or I do it and win, and then you're like, why did you do that? I won. It's the same thing you would have done.
Hey, Gopper.
Surprise Doge.
Alright, dog appeared. Anyways, so that's kind of what we're going over. So we're going to go kind of hop straight in to what we're going to be discussing and the decks that we are planning on seeing here at Charlotte. First on the list is Tron.
Tron is not dead.
Tron is not dead at all. We saw it in Milwaukee. Yeah, pretty sure Milwaukee was. It was. GP Milwaukee. The deck got second.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, considering it had really bad matchups going into the top 8. It was against Death Shadow Aggro.
Yes.
And top 8. It was a really pitiful game. But
it wasn't a game.
Yeah, it wasn't a game at all actually.
I play Wild Bear Huddle. Scoop.
Alright, scoop. But nonetheless, it did dodge that matchup. It basically won that matchup, and it could be a little bit of a rough matchup for the deck at times. Then going into top 4, it went against Burn. That is almost an unwinnable matchup, pretty much 90% of the time. Just Burn can just outrace Tron every single time I've seen it. Hey guys, welcome to the stream.
Hi.
So I was really surprised to kind of see it dodge past all of the Burn.
It, what was it? Nature's Claim.
Yeah, yeah, he did play Nature's Claim.
Like it came at key points in time. The other guy just didn't have the burn, or didn't play his Skullcrack.
Yeah. The major aspect of the game is whenever it got flipped on its head. He tapped, went to fetch, and whenever he went to fetch, that's whenever he Nature's Claim. So he didn't have time to Skullcrack. Because he was in that awkward period of fetching, so he didn't have mana. He didn't have that second land for the Skullcrack.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was really solid plays. Kind of just he pulled everything he needed to, and he managed to make it in the top 2. And then Abzan Company did end up winning. But I mean, still great showing for Tron, especially after all the talk of how Tron was dead.
It's not as good. It's not as consistent.
I mean, so we have a couple of Tron players in our local meta. I still think Tron is a viable deck.
Definitely.
I definitely expect to see it in the format at GP Charlotte. And actually, I still expect to see a decent pool. It's no longer a win more, though. Like
It's no longer, I have Ugin, okay, do you want to scoop?
Yeah, it's no longer, like, so Junk and Jund, right? Normally, really powerful decks would struggle against Tron, and that's kind of why Tron was so big, and why Junk and Jund kind of fell off the list a little bit, is if Tron was just that big, there's no sense in playing these really good decks, because we're just going to lose to Tron.
Yep.
I mean, for Junk to beat Tron, they had to go, like, Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Liliana, like, they just had to hit everything they needed. And the Liliana's not that important, but they have to have all the spot removal and all the hand removal to beat Tron. And that's just rough. And that's hoping that they don't have natural Tron.
Yes.
So, still think it's very well positioned. It lost Eye of Ugin. All well. They've been experimenting with Sanctum of Ugin, and it's been performing very well, actually, especially for the burn matchup. So I'm interested to kind of see how that works out moving forward.
We'll see. I mean, maybe you never know, it might win this GP, or at least continue to place top 8.
Well, I mean, I'm planning on winning this GP, so I don't think it's gonna win.
Well, you do have your 2 rounds of buys. So
yeah, I do have 2 rounds of buys going into GP Charlotte, which is very nice. Very nice. That was a very fun event, beating Blue Tron and then Eldrazi. For those buys, or not Eldrazi, but Affinity even. Yeah, that was real fun.
Anyways.
So I think we're gonna kind of move on away from Tron at this point.
So the deck that did win.
The deck, yeah.
The deck I absolutely hate.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about this deck. Right?
It's good. I think it's resilient enough. But it's a combo deck.
Yeah, it's a combo deck, and we've noticed that the combo decks have kind of been hurting a little bit in this past meta. Now, mainly that was because the only combo deck really worth playing was Splinter Twin, and
it said no.
They
done.
Wizards was like, all right, you guys need to cut back Splinter Twin, and then that's when the Eldrazi Menace came in.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you? So after the Eldrazi Menace, we're done with that. People are starting to kind of experiment with combo decks again.
Yes.
I think that there is a place for combo. I don't know if Abzan Company is the best combo deck that we can be playing. So don't get me wrong. I think the deck is good. It's just at times when I've been playing it and playing against it, it feels like it just kind of dirtles, right? And it gets to that point where you're drawing like, oh, another Noble Hierarch. Oh, another Birds of Paradise. Oh, a Wall of Roots. These are all dead cards once we get into this mid-late game.
Yes.
They're great in the early game for that super ramp, right? You get into where you can start doing your chords super early. You get to where you can cast key combo pieces. But it feels like I really need this top deck. Or I really need a card off this deck for me to get out of this situation. And I have 12 dead cards right now.
I have all of my mana dorks and nothing to spend my mana on.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of, I feel like there's inconsistency. That's kind of the word I'm looking for.
It's just every time I face it, oh, by the way, get your Finks combo?
Yeah, it's like, oh, now I have the combo. Yeah, exactly.
Game 2.
And sadly, because Splinter Twin is gone now, there's nothing to counteract the infinite life, infinite damage combo. It's just, I've got infinite life. What do you want to do?
Let's go to game 2 and hope to God I get that surgical extraction.
Yeah. But I definitely feel like the deck is strong.
Yeah.
I definitely deserved its win in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been a strong deck ever since it started debuting, like, what, a year ago?
About a year and a half ago, I think, is whenever it started fully making its debut. And actually,
I mean, when they actually got Company.
Yeah.
When Company was a card.
What? Company hasn't been a card forever?
No.
Are you serious? That's crazy, man.
I know.
But, so definitely think the deck is very well positioned at the moment, but I don't think we're going to be seeing it winning again. Now I could be wrong, but I feel like it's just too inconsistent.
Well, I mean, again, it definitely top 8s. And the beauty of Modern is you're not going to see one deck, with the exception of Eldrazi Winter, where you see one deck consistently win every event.
Right.
It's definitely a top contender, something you do have to be prepared to face.
Yeah, definitely have sideboards set up for it.
But I mean, it's not like Affinity where it's going to threaten to win every time.
And since we get on the topic of sideboard for this, right?
Yeah.
As far as Tron goes, we're gonna back up a little bit. I apologize, guys. As far as Tron goes, there's not really much we can do about the sideboard. There's stuff that we can bring in to kind of hate them out. I know a lot of people bring in spell skites against them sometimes to kind of redirect Karn targets.
Yep.
And stuff like that. Sometimes I feel like spell skite can be a little bit slow. Like you want to be doing something a little bit more if on your turn 2. But at the same time, like if you need to spell skite, set that way on turn 3 you can just kind of go off. That's fine too. What do we have in our sideboard for Tron? That's pretty much it. I mean, Dismember doesn't do much.
I mean, technically we could take out some of their searches if they're having to dig really hard with surgical extraction. We do have the Stony Silence to deal with activating some of those artifacts.
That's true. Stony Silence does do quite a bit of work against Tron, especially
I mean,
if they're...
Especially last night when I played it, he was like, wow, I have Chromatic Stars, Spheres, and Expedition maps that I could do nothing with.
Yeah, exactly. So
and then I completely misplayed by playing Nature's Claim on my artifact and not your enchantment. But, you know, whatever.
Crumble, yeah, you're very correct on that one. Crumble does do a lot of work against Tron. Any land destruction that you can get out very quickly.
Or especially with Crumble to Dust, it's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to take out all of your Urza's Mines.
Yeah.
You're never going to have Tron.
Yeah.
Ever.
You're done. You lose, sir.
It's a bit expensive at 4 mana, but
I mean, if they stall, if they don't get their natural Tron on turn 3, sometimes that's all you need. Molten Rain. So yeah, burn players do play Molten Rain. I don't know how I feel about the card, but I mean, it gives burn another kind of win more.
Fulminator Mage.
And Fulminator Mage, yeah. So this is the card that we're kind of going to bring up a little bit later.
If you're running Abzan Company.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be bringing this up a little bit later in the stream. I definitely agree with Fulminator Mage. We have a lot to talk about that card.
Yes.
So it's a very fun card in the format. But yeah, so a lot of just general artifact hate or anything.
Artifact or land hate.
Artifact and land hate.
Because that's what they do. Artifact and land.
That's pretty much how you hate out Tron. Now going into Abzan Company.
Combo decks, so hate out their combo pieces.
Yeah.
Done.
So there's a lot of fun cards that kind of deal with this. Torpor Orb handles it decently well.
Torpor Orb or anything like Grafdigger's Cage.
Hushwing Griff.
Yes.
So like when I was playing elves back in my little elf period.
I think everybody has that elf period.
Yeah, everyone goes, I'm gonna play elves. No, this is bad.
And then you become a man.
Yeah, Shadow of Doubt, also very good against Abzan Company, I think. I played Hushwing Griff. I would go Court of Calling for 3, grab a Hushwing Griff, because that's back when Splinter Twin was very rampant.
Yeah.
And I'd just be like, Hushwing Griff, deal with it. And they'd be like, pass turn. So it's one of those things that if you are playing it in a niche deck, Hushwing Griff can be very good.
Oh yeah.
But it is a very niche card.
Yes.
Also, Rest in Peace stops this deck real hard.
Yes.
They don't get their infinite combos at all. Their persist is done. It goes straight to exile. Same on the same page as Rest in Peace, but Leyline of the Void if you're in black. I know it's 4 mana, but if you do get that start in your opening hand, it's just automatically on the field. It stops the dredge. It stops dredge players.
Yep.
It stops anyone who wants to use Delve mechanic, like a lot of the control decks. I think that Leyline of the Void and Rest in Peace are just good cards in general. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage. We talked about it a little bit earlier on Tron, but Surgical Extraction also works. If their Kitchen Fink sits the graveyard, you get that split second where you can go Surgical.
Yeah. Before
just,
persist trigger, respond.
Yeah.
Gone. All of them.
Get rid of a combo piece. As soon as it hits the graveyard, get rid of a combo piece.
Yes.
And it can really just slow the deck down. Now the deck does have resilience. It has Gavany Township that can eventually just kind of beat through your face. but that takes them a lot longer to get set up.
Oh, definitely.
A lot longer to get set up.
It's no longer an instant scoop.
And Relic of Progenitus can.
Mhm.
It's a little bit of spot removal straight out the gate. If you kind of want to go that route with it and kind of have a little bit more versatile card in your sideboard, so you don't have to hate one specific deck.
Oh yeah.
But I definitely think that Abzan Company will be a major part of the meta. So maybe having just pure hate for Abzan isn't going to be the worst thing ever.
Kind of like how several decks build absolute hate towards Affinity or.
Yeah, exactly. Just so like
that kind of
you have dedicated hate towards Affinity. Back when Splinter Twin was in, you had to have dedicated hate for Splinter Twin.
Of course.
So I feel like we're getting to the point. What do you think on Kalidas, Trader of Get, and board versus Coco? So,
yeah,
Kalidas is good main board, but sideboard is definitely strong if you want to go that route with it. I don't know what deck you're really wanting to play him in. He doesn't go in every black deck, but he does go.
Not everyone.
He's fit very well in Junk right now, and he's fitting very well in Jund. Both of the decks have picked him up, and every time I've seen him played, he does a lot of work. So I believe I was actually watching a game last night at our local shop, and it was against the Coco player, actually. His opponent resolved a Kalidas, and he said, all right, good game. I cannot win now. Majors has been running Kalidas.
Yeah, I was about to say, Grixis definitely I mean, any of your mid-range or control decks, where 4 mana is reasonable for your creatures.
Yeah, there's like I said, there's a couple of decks that I wouldn't run him in, just because he's a little bit clunky.
Yes.
But as far as how I feel about Kalidas in the sideboard or even main board, I really like him. He is very powerful. Scapeshift versus Abzan Company. I was hoping someone would actually bring up Scapeshift.
I like it.
It is personally one of my favorite decks, and that's mainly because it's a janky deck,
yes,
right?
Of course.
So
we love 100% pure janky.
If you ask me my opinion on a janky deck, I will tell you all day that I love it.
It's
okay?
Spicy and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what my response is always going to be. I think Scapeshift is going to have a comeback.
Yep.
I don't know how long you guys have been playing Modern, but about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, Scapeshift was very, very much a thing. Yes. And people were like, oh, this is a deck. I definitely think now that we're kind of moving away from Splinter Twin's banned, we don't have to worry about that. Definitely. We're moving away from the Eldrazi Menace because Ivorian is banned. We don't have to worry about that. We're kind of getting back more into the combo phase. I think Splinter Twin definitely has a matchup. Now, Splinter Twin versus Abzan Company, I don't know, actually. Mainly because I haven't really researched or actually even seen a game played between the two.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately in our local shop, nobody's really picked up Scapeshift again.
I have Scapeshift, but it's one of those decks that I don't.
We're having fun with another deck, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about a couple of other decks.
Yes.
But I really want to kind of see the Scapeshift matchup now. It really, you got me thinking about it.
I'll play this out sometime.
Yeah. We're going to do some playtesting about this, and I'm going to get back to you on that, Arc Predator, because I don't have an answer for you right now.
Yeah.
But I will definitely get to the bottom of that for you. I think that it's going to be a very fun matchup. I think it's going to come down to who gets their combo off faster.
Yes.
And I think...
More consistent with the combo?
Yeah, I think that Scapeshift can kind of control them out and just kind of wait. Because Abzan doesn't really have much interaction.
They don't. It's just more of, here, let me throw a dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a guy and pass, and I'm gonna play another guy and pass, and I'm gonna cord, and I'm gonna get this guy. Because their Fiend Hunter's a dead card, because, I mean, you don't really play anything other than Sucker Tri-Balders. And then an Inferno Titan in the sideboard, and a Karanos.
Yeah.
So, definitely an interesting matchup. I definitely think that Scapeshift might come out ahead in that matchup, just because, whether you're just running 2-color or 3-color Scapeshift, I think that the control aspect of Scape Shift versus just kind of the dirtleness of Abzan Company, the control aspect of Scape Shift wins.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion.
I mean, generally, a more interactive controlling deck with combo is more consistent and going to win more out versus if it's like an aggro combo.
Yeah, because, I mean, Scape Shift is going to just keep them off of Melira and Anafinza.
Oh, yeah.
And not kind of let them get set up. And then they're just going to be like, all right, Scape Shift. You can't counter it because you're not a counter deck.
Yeah, pretty much.
GG. So that's kind of my prediction. But I don't know. We kind of have to see it play out.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So let's move on from Abzan Company. We've kind of been in Abzan for quite a little bit of time.
So moving to this deck.
Moving to jankiness. All right. So
potential deck for William here at GP Charlotte.
Yeah. So I have played Living End for 3 years, roughly, give or take.
That's a while.
Yeah, it is by far one of my favorite decks. And going back on it because it's so janky, right? It's such Scumlord Central. That's what I want to. That's pretty much what Living End is, right? It's Scumlord Central. So what's got me hesitant on Living End right now is because there is a lot of talk about control being a major thing in this format and in this meta right now. And if you play against a control player that know what they're doing, Living End is kind of like a kind of card.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times you can kind of catch people off guard with Living End because they'll try to
Yeah, this is a deck.
Because whenever you Cascade, they'll counter the Cascade card and not Living End itself. So let's inform people real quick. In case of you, if any of you guys are unfamiliar with how Cascade and Living End work, you play a card called Violent Outburst or Demonic Dread, and they are both 3-drops in junk colors, and they let you Cascade. Cascade says you reveal the top cards, or whenever you cast a spell, you reveal the top cards from the top of your library until you hit a card with less CMC than the Cascaded card.
So you have to hit something with
2 or less.
2 or less.
2 or less. The deck doesn't run anything below 3, so except for Living End, because Living End has a CMC of 0. So whenever you Cascade and you hit the Living End, it goes on the stack like you're casting the spell. Now, where a lot of people mess up is whenever you cast a Cascade spell, they will go and counter the Demonic Dread or the Violent Outburst. That's fine. You don't get the effect of the card. However,
you don't care at this point.
You don't care. You're just trying to get the Cascade off. Because the way it's worded, whenever you cast it, it doesn't matter if they counter it or not. You're still going to get the Cascade trigger. It's just like Eldrazi with an Ulamog trigger, stuff like that. You still get the exile.
So here, you're essentially tutoring a spell, almost, and then immediately casting it and putting it on the stack.
Yeah, and then the way Living End works is it's a board wipe, and I get a bunch of guys back.
Yeah.
So kind of going back on Leyline of the Void and Grafdigger's Cage and Rest in Peace, these cards
are cards you hate.
Are cards that I definitely don't want to see. However, that being said, I play Leyline of the Void in my sideboard because it does say target opponent, not you.
Yeah.
And that's just because whenever I crack off Living End, if it's a long game and it's mid-rangey, sometimes I have to do Living End multiple times, and I don't want their creatures coming back. Living End gets around Grafdigger's Cage. Yes, it does. That's correct. I apologize.
Yep.
Yeah. They do enter from exile. But Relic of Progenitus still hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they always go in response.
Yeah.
No more grave.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So Relic does hurt, but you are correct. Grafdigger's Cage, we do get around Grafdiggers. The deck is a little bit resilient, though, to artifacts in particular, just because the deck does have the potential to run Abrupt Decay, stuff like that. Now, my take on Living End is a little bit different than others normally.
Because, again, jank.
A lot of people try to run white in it for reclusive, big spider guy. Hey, Corey, what's up, man? I think it's like a 4/6 spider with reach, and it has land cycling. I actually don't play white. I play Jund colors and with blue for Architect of Thought. And I believe we saw a Living End player in Milwaukee that did like a win like 11-2-1 or something like that. Did very well. Did very well. I don't think he quite made top 8. I think he was in the top 16 though, maybe.
Oh yeah.
He was definitely up there. And he was kind of running the Architect of Thought package as well. Just run Living Kiki.
Sure.
I don't know if that's what I want to run. I've considered it, but probably not an option that I'm really wanting to just kind of delve into.
Are you sure? That sounds very janky.
I want to play a janky deck that can win.
Oh, that's the difference.
That's
why you roll your eyes at all of my suggestions, and you're like, "That's just pure stupid jank."
Yeah,
that won't win. Ever.
That's just complete jank, Mike.
That's where we draw the line. I'll play anything jank.
Yes, your standard decks prove it.
Yes, they do.
So this is definitely a deck that I'm considering running. If you're a counter deck, you pretty much win against Living End majority of the time.
As long as you know to counter Living End.
Yeah, as long as you know to counter Living End, there's really not much the deck can do to interact with a control deck.
No.
It's kind of one of those decks that we just kind of chalk it up as a loss and like swallow our pride and kind of keep moving forward.
Okay, next round. Let's go.
Yeah, like they're just like,
let me go grab lunch.
I'm gonna go eat some food because playing this out is going to be cancer. But no, I feel like Living End is going to be well positioned. It's not as well positioned as it was back in the Eldrazi Menace.
Yeah.
Because back when Eldrazi's were huge, Living End was great.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Let me get rid of your stupid board of Reality Smash.
Let me play a playset of Fulminator Mages and Avalanche Riders. There is nothing you are going to do this game. And that's another thing is Living End has an amazing matchup against Tron. An amazing matchup. I have never lost to a Tron player playing Living End. And
I mean, you could counter the suspend, but we're not going to suspend the spell ever.
Yeah.
We're going to cascade into it.
Can't counter off the suspend. Yeah, you can counter off the suspend, and that's what Mike was just saying.
Like you can. But generally, we cascade into it.
Generally speaking, we will cascade into the spell unless we're just in a dire situation, right?
Yeah.
There are times where I've set up like 2 Living Ends to where they're gonna take down county. So like a Living End will cast, and then a Living End will cast, and you don't have to cast the Living End off the suspend. It's just like any other suspend card. Whenever it gets down to 0, you can choose to leave it in exile or cast it.
Capital. Anyway.
Trick Bind. That's another fun card. It's funny you say that because I've played Trick Bind in Modern before just to troll people. It is great. Kappa.
Yep.
Roger that.
Yep.
Hey guys, welcome to the stream. But anyways, Fall Suspend is mandatory to cast. No.
Sorry, the judge in us is going, wait a minute. Let's go look up horrible text.
You have to down tick it. It has to go. Yeah, suspend is not mandatory, Haji. You
have to remove the counters.
Yeah, you have to remove the counters. But when it gets to 0, you do not have to cast it. You may leave it in exile. If you do, it is gone forever. It is in exile.
Oh, Jesus, what the hell? My judge app is broken, I'm sorry.
Your judge app is broken.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that, Broski.
I mean, that's fair, man. I've been playing the deck for quite a while, but it's okay. Hey, Mike, how you been, bud?
Oh,
how's Florida life?
Oh, my God.
How's Florida life treating you?
What's up? Lots of text in the text box.
So much text, so much chat.
This is amazing for the amount of engagement we're having off of, premiere episode.
I know, right?
I was just completely winging this and not really doing that much. Like, oh, hey, we're doing this. No, it's we're doing this right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Um, read suspend.
All right. Hold up. I apologize, guys. Let's talk here.
Real talk.
Real talk for a second. We're pausing. We're gonna get to the bottom of this real quick.
All hail.
All hail. Living in. Always causing issues, man. Always causing issues.
All right.
It's a. You can't play it, or you have to play it.
Huh?
When the last counter is removed, if it is exiled, play it without paying its mana cost.
All right then. Well, I guess I've been mistaken, guys. I apologize.
I'm sorry, I don't play with suspend. That's a bad
Yeah.
mechanic.
Yeah. I might have been remembering Cascade.
Maybe.
That is a possibility. Well, yeah. So, apologize about that, guys. You were correct on that one.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I am humble enough to admit that I was wrong.
Good job, Will.
Hey, man, it's okay. It's okay. But, needless to say, you can counter a living end off of the suspend whenever it comes off of suspend, you can counter it. So that is something to consider.
Yep.
Best way to play living end against counters is to suspend, let them counter it. When it comes off suspend, then go for the cascade. Yeah. And that's pretty much what you kind of have to do. You have to set it up where they either have to counter living end number 1, or they have to counter living end number 2.
Either way, it's gonna happen.
Like, regardless, living end is hitting the field.
And I hope to God I kill you.
Yeah. I hope I can swing one swing and kill you.
Yep.
And just call it a day.
Yeah. It's not an unwinnable matchup, but it's a very rough
It's very grindy, very grindy.
But
now,
then again, with any kind of counter matchup, it's always going to be grind. Grind.
Now, luckily, there are times where you can get a Fulminator, Mage out, and some Avalanche Riders, and kind of go the land destruction route with it, and just kind of start hating on them, and it kind of gives you some breathing room.
Oh yeah.
Right, a little bit of breathing room. But a lot of the times, like any kind of control deck with Living End, there's very little interaction, and it's rough.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kind of move off of Living End. Like I said, it's a very janky, fun deck, but I don't think I'm going to be playing it.
Oh, you finally decided? Because last time I talked, you were like, oh, I might play Living End.
But I mean, I might. I don't know.
Don't.
Like, I'm in like this week and a half period where I'm just like, we have a week and a half before Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I play?
You know
what I should play? This.
You play that.
All right.
You play that deck.
This deck.
That deck over there.
Yeah.
Past his head. Alright, Vanna White.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that card next to my head is a don't do it. This card is by far one of our favorite cards.
Oh yeah.
So I've been playing this deck for a year and a half.
I've been playing it for like the past 3-4 months now.
So I've had this deck built, and back during the start of the Eldrazi reign, I believe it was Pro Tour, there was quite a bit of Death Shadows.
Oh yeah.
Quite a bit. And I believe like 9 Death Shadow decks made day 2.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing. Like, people were like, what is this card? And
this is the thing?
So people come into the shop that we frequent, and they're like, Will, don't you play this card? And I'm like, yeah?
Yes, I do.
They're like, are you watching Pro Tour? And I'm like, no, why? And they're like, because Death Shadow is kicking butt at Pro Tour right now. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Talk Eureka into it is why.
It's a fun deck.
It is very fun.
Yes.
Very fun. There's a few ways you can kind of go with this, that allows you to just kind of have fun with it. It gives you a lot of. It can be a toolbox deck, which is weird.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. You can use a lot of the spells that are in our list to kind of steer you where exactly you want to be, and even if they have removal for you, it doesn't matter. Like we have answers for it.
Yeah.
So I think it works out fine. This is probably the deck I'm taking to GP. And I say that because this deck I am very comfortable with. It is the deck I took and got my GP buys with.
Yep. And even you win the very hard matchups with this one.
Yeah, and
I mean,
it's really weird, right? Like
for me, the scariest deck to face against is Burn.
Yeah.
And even then, you could still be like, "Ha! Surprise, win!"
Yeah,
because you killed us both.
Yeah,
and I'm putting the nail in the coffin in you.
Yeah, it's really nice
really
because Burn is a really hard matchup for this deck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it at all. Mike can attest to it.
It's very nerve-wracking. Very nerve-wracking because you're like, you're just to stay above 4.
You're just like,
but I want to be lower to kill you.
It's like, can I take the extra damage? No, because you have an open mana and you might have a bolt.
Last night, being at 1, I was like down to 3 life. I'm like, oh, for the love of God, let me live.
You had a spell scout on board. You did have a spell scout on board.
Yeah.
And then he top decked a lava, or he top decked a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And lightning bolted you. And then you redirected it. You were at 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you pulled it out, but you pulled it out of your butt.
I think what was better was game 2 when you walked away. I was at 5 life. He was like 20.
Dark madness. Don't play death. I'll kill you. I mean,
something salty about this deck?
I mean, you can kill me. It'll just make my death shadow bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that.
But yeah, I think that was great last night. You walked away from the table. I'm at 5 life. He's at 20.
Yeah.
And I come back to win.
Yeah. It was. I'll give it to you, Mike. It was very impressive. Very impressive.
And all I had were, I didn't even have Death Shadow. I had McConnell's.
Yeah.
And then I finally got the Death Shadow out. But
so that's the glorious thing about this deck, right? It is a zoo deck. Death Shadow is nice. Do not get me wrong. Death Shadow is bread and butter.
Yes.
Right? But this deck is a zoo shell.
Yes.
So it can win off of Nicodles, Monastery Swift Spears. I play Step Lynxes. I play a more traditional list.
I used to, and then I was like, I hate Step Lynx because 99% of the time is a 0-1.
Yeah. Mike plays Kurt Apes. Yeah?
Hey, it was great against Tron because he was like, I have Pyroclasm. I can't do anything to these Kurt Apes.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah. So, like, okay, I like Kurt Apes, right? I just feel like I like the Step Lynx just being able to go fetch. My Step Lynx is a 4/5 now. You have to worry about
Battle Rage.
Yeah. Yeah, just
magic.
Like, I've pulled off shenanigans with Step Lynxes before. And
I'm just saying it's not as consistent.
I will agree.
Explosive, just not as consistent.
Yeah, I'll agree that Kurt Apes are more consistent, just not explosive. So,
Who
but
cares?
still, moving on. This deck is still by far one of the most entertaining decks I have played in Magic. Period.
Yeah.
I've not had this much fun with a deck other than Polymorph. Back when I used to play that in Modern.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I beat that with Zendikar Vampires. That was weird.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Like that deck.
Oh, you're token killing. You're token killing.
That deck was,
no,
that
you're
deck,
not gonna polymorph ever.
Fire Spout is the new burn for Tron. Fire Spout's doing real good.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. I definitely like it a little bit better than I like. Pyroclasm. There we go.
The card I just said like a minute ago.
I just had a brain fart. Okay, I had a mental misstep. All right. Ha!
He said the name, guys!
I said the name! Alright, anyways. No.
It's bad when I start facepalming.
but I like Fire Spout over Pyroclast. It is just a little bit more. Oh, I can actually do a little bit more than just 2 damage. Let's do this. Kill your stuff. Yeah, killing your stuff is fun.
It does.
Okay.
Fiery death.
But, so obviously this deck has some very easy hate for it, right?
Creature hate, creature hate, creature hate.
Yeah.
I've grown to hate Path to Exile. Oh, you're playing white. I know what card you have in hand now.
If you're playing against a white deck, this deck you have to be very cautious with.
Am I gonna go all in with this one dude? Path.
Well, that's good game, but
Sad.
Yeah.
As a sad.
sadly, Path to Exile and Exile effects are the only thing that really just shut us down. If you kill us, if you kill our creature,
I mean, what could be worse is Condemn.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, your life total's back up. Oh.
Yeah. Another annoyance factor, like Mike just mentioned, is our life going back up.
Slight reason why I hate Red Green Tron a little bit.
Right now, if the Tron players are still, there are some players who are still using Grove of the Burning Willows over the Painland.
Yep.
If they are using Grove, there are Tron players in our local meta that just generate a mana every turn, whether they do something or not.
This artifact, I'm going to tap it for red, or tap for a red mana to play the artifact, so you have to gain a life.
Yeah. And and it's just so that
Our death shed is just...
yeah. We had a gentleman last night, I think, quadruple blocked a Death Shadow. No, quadruple blocked in a Coddle.
Yes.
Yeah, quadruple blocked in a Coddle just because he knows the potential to just go, become immense, Teamer Battle Rage, you're dead.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he lost all of his dudes because I was just like, Teamer Battle Rage on my Swift Spear. Your dudes are dead, mine's still alive.
Right.
I'm dead next turn, though, because I didn't have become immense.
Yeah. So that's another bad thing about the deck is sometimes you just have bad draws. But good news about the deck, you're only running 52 cards.
Because you play 8 draw spells.
Yeah.
For free.
When
for 2 life apiece.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
We run 4 Street Wraiths,
Yes.
4 Jataxian Probes.
Yes.
Lets us thin our deck super quick and keep really janky hands and get rewarded for it. You can ask Mike, I don't know how many times I've kept a hand.
No lander.
Just
with like 3 Street Wraith, 2 Jataxian Probes. It gets there.
And I draw all the cards I need and I go off.
Yes.
Right? Last night, Mike actually had one of these hands. He kept 3 Street Wraiths and a Jataxian Probe, was on the draw, drew a Jataxian Probe, so he had 5 draw spells.
Yeah.
And off the Jataxian Probe, he got another G Probe. So he had 6 draw spells on turn 1.
Well, first I did 2 Street Wraiths so I could get the land to play the Swift Spear.
Yeah, that's true.
And then do all the G Probes.
Yeah.
And then swing for like 12.
Yeah.
Turn 1.
The deck is very cheeky, right? The deck is very cheeky.
Put your opponent on tilt. They're like, oh god, ow.
They're like, why did you punch me in the face for 10 damage?
With a Swift Spear.
On turn 1.
With a Swift Spear. It was so little. Not anymore.
But needless to say, the deck is very fun.
Yeah.
Our list is a little bit different than some of the meta lists.
And this is where we're a little bit more resilient than most.
Yeah.
Where we're not entirely scared of Path to Exile.
Yeah. So a lot of we're gonna share secret sideboard tech. I haven't really seen it in that many lists, and I could have just
Sideboard tech, it's mainboard tech.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've not really seen it in many lists, and I could be wrong. I could have missed it. If someone has seen it in the list, please correct me. I'll be happy to take a look at it. So I was playing around with the deck, and I was realizing that I lost to Path to Exile a lot.
A lot.
And not even just Path to Exile, but spot removal.
Yeah.
Sometimes spot removal just goes, all right, your creature's dead. I'm now going to do whatever I want. And I'm just like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
You got it. So there's this card in Modern. I don't know if you guys know what it's called, but it's called Fling.
Do you know what it does? Because evidently every time I play it, most people are like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, so this card Fling is really, really cool.
It's been reprinted so many times,
So-
and I'm still confused by people like, what does that card do? What?
So basically, you pay 2 mana, you sack a guy, and you deal damage equal to its power
To a creature or player.
to a creature or player. So, with that being said, even if they have a wall of creatures up, and let's say we have a Death Shadow, and our Death Shadow is an 8/8 because we're at 5 life.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable.
Alright, so our Death Shadow is an 8/8 because we're at 5 life. Let's say it's about middle of the game, so our opponent's already taken damage from fetch land, shock land, stuff like that. So we have an 8/8. Our opponent's at 14 life. Because we've gotten a little bit of damage in because we're in a fast deck. They've taken shocks and fetches because it's modern. Very typical.
Yeah.
The top 8 open list had one. Alright, cool.
Cool.
So, great.
Most of the ones we see don't run any.
Yeah, generally speaking, a lot of the lists don't run it. And I don't know why, just because it's super good. I've been running Fling in the list for about seven months. Just because I realized that the original list, it was just really, really weak to spot removal, like I said.
It's very non-interactive. It's here. Let me just jam all these pump spells.
Yeah, and I hope you
on a big dude, and I hope I kill you first before you can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Now,
But basically,
with Fling, it's we're on the ropes. Oh, you're going for lethal. Block Fling.
Yeah, it is one of those things that even if they try to use spot removal, even if it's not much damage, if you know you can win in the next turn or two, sometimes flinging a Nakatl for 3 damage instead of letting it die to a lightning bolt is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Or if your opponent's playing flyers, the deck doesn't really respond to flyers much. There has been a time I've thrown a Swift Spear into a Vanillion Click.
Or Platinum Angel or something.
I mean, not a Platinum Angel, that's just bad. But, no,
well, not in the coddle, but I'm just saying something about it.
Is this deck good if you're bad to removal and 3 of the best decks are Jund, Burn, and Abzan Coco? And I imagine Jund and Burn are tough.
So
I mean, Burn is tough.
we mentioned earlier. We mentioned earlier.
Beat it.
Yeah.
It's like a chess game. Because it's like, let me do math.
Yeah. We mentioned
I
earlier.
can take that Burn.
Burn is a little bit of a rougher matchup for us. Yeah. You have to play very carefully with Burn, and that's just because you have to determine how much you're willing to let them burn you and how much you're willing to let you burn you. Because you're trying to get your life total down. So Burn assists you in that. But if you're not careful, Burn can just capitalize on you.
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of have to watch out for yourself. Abzan Company. I've gone against this deck many times. I think my win record against it is 75% to 25%. I think, like I said earlier in the stream when we were talking about Abzan Company, I think the deck is good. I feel like it just dirtles too much, and if the deck dirtles against this deck in particularly, we just capitalize on it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it does have removal, but there is protection magic, there is fling, there is a lot of answers to deal with spot removal, especially in our lists.
Oh yeah.
And as far as the Jund matchup goes, if they get a Liliana out, it can hurt, right? And generally speaking, they're going to have a Liliana. But there's a lot of the times that we can just outrace Jund. The creatures we play don't die to a bolt as much as you think that they would, just because we have mutagenic growths as protection spells as well as pump spells. Because our mutagenic growths puts our creatures out of bolt range on anything we cast on.
Yes.
Because Swift Spears are a 1/2, Nakatls are generally going to be a 2/2 when you play them, and then a mutagenic will make it a 4/4. And Steplinks is, for me, mutagenic growth doesn't stop it, they can kill it. Right? But a Curt 8 for you, generally speaking, if you get Stomping Ground, it's going to be a 2/3, and you're still going to be able to mutagenic growth out of range. So
the reason why I run Curt 8.
Jund is an iffy matchup. It's about a 50-50 matchup.
Yeah.
So you have Burn, which is about a 40-60. You have Jund, which is about a 50-50, and Abzan Coco, from my experience, is about a 75-25. So
I mean, really, for Abzan Coco, it's just if they hit Catch of Things combo, then we have to scoop.
Yeah. But a lot of the times, we can either just beat them down beforehand, they dirtle too long, or we have removal as well, and we can kind of take care of their kitchen things before they kind of get going.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question. I think the deck is well positioned. I think it is fast enough to deal with a lot of the decks in the format,
Mhm.
which is kind of why I'm considering it so hard taking it to Charlotte.
Yep.
Um,
And again, it's another one of, because we run Fleeting Desire Word, there have been countless times where there's lethal on the board and they're lethal on the stack. They will like burn me out for the final 2. But for the resources they had to do it, like my opponent last night had to play a fetch and shock himself down. To
Just
then
so-
cast a Tarkus command allowed me to double fling my Nicodles to his face
for the win.
for the win.
Which is really absurd, right? Like to think about double flinging 2 Nicodles at your opponent to win a game is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like with a Tarkus command on the stack. I'm like, hold on, let me do this real quick. Fling.
But the deck can get there in cheeky ways, and
Oh,
and I think that's what makes the deck good is it can get there and capitalize on things that it ought not be able to capitalize on.
Definitely.
So I do think this deck is good. I think it's well positioned. I think it definitely has a chance at least top 8. I definitely think if played correctly and
With good draws, because I
with-
mean it is jank.
yeah, with good draws, played correctly, and ideal matchups. I know that's asking a lot in Magic, but
I think even I don't feel like there's any matchup that's unwinnable.
yeah,
There are very tough matchups.
Yeah.
Like
Even-
Soul Sisters is annoying, but
even the
we've beat it.
even the control matchup, we've play tested a lot of control, a lot of it, and we can generally break through it. There's a lot of the times where control can eventually just stall us out,
Yes.
but a lot of the times we're a little bit too fast for control
Yes.
to where we put too much on the board that they can handle.
Yes. Because nothing's more satisfying to go Death Shadow, Death Shadow, Death Shadow.
Yeah, that was.
I have 3 8/8s.
That was an absurd game. We
Yeah.
probably shouldn't reference that game as a good.
Well, I mean, when the Eldrazi Menace was a thing, I did that during an IQ, and the guy was like, "I have to chop block with Reality Smasher. This does not feel good."
Feels bad. But no.
Hmm.
But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I do feel like the deck is in a very well positioned spot at the moment.
Yeah.
So kind of moving away from that, those are the decks that I highly expect to see. We kind of left out a couple that
I mean, we could sit here and talk about modern decks for days.
yeah, there's a lot of modern decks in the meta that are definitely to be discussed. I don't really want to discuss Burn. I think everyone kind of knows what Burn is.
Kind of like Affinity. Everybody knows what Affinity is.
Yeah, like Burn lists do not change,
Mhm.
and if they do, it's very minor tweaks.
Yeah.
And same thing for Affinity. Affinity lists don't super change,
Mhm.
but occasionally you get a nice little tweak here and there, like the Insult Artifact tweak. that a
Or
lot of lists-
inserting Master of Ethereum over... God, what was the one they pulled out? I can't remember. But I mean, I remember like a lot more decks started running in Master of Ethereum now.
Now, we saw it a little bit towards middle of last year, or about 6 months ago. We started kind of seeing Grixis control
Mhm.
kind of starting to pick up momentum again. I know last year at GP Charlotte, people were trying to experiment with Grixis, and it was kind of getting shut down. And I think that Grixis has gotten a lot of momentum now,
Yeah.
and is in a really good position.
Yeah.
For a lot of the decks in the meta.
I think Affinity drastically changes based on the meta.
Definitely. Well, I mean, like, I think you have the same shell. I just think certain pieces move in and out.
Yeah. So like a lot of the times you'll have Galvanic Blast move in and out. You'll have Thoughtcast move in and out. You'll have the list that try to run Insult Artifact.
Mm.
The great argument over Master of Ethereum versus Edge Champion.
Yep.
So like there are interchangeable parts in the Affinity lists.
Mm.
I do agree with that. I just think for the majority of the time though, and of course there's wide affinity versus Build-A-Dude affinity.
Mm.
But for the majority of the time, the shell pretty much stays the same in my opinion.
The thought process of how many lands you play, 16, 17.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, though, I think as far as like if you're trying to build like sideboard against Affinity or how to answer to it, generally stays roughly the same.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
generally your sideboard for Affinity is going to be pretty much
Yeah.
universal.
you might prioritize your targets a little bit different on like an Ancient Grudge or something.
Yeah, but like I mean, Ancient Grudge has always been really good against Affinity.
Mhm.
Stony Silence, very good against Affinity. Of course, Affinity is adapted to the Stony Silence with Ghoulport Aether Grid. And it has done well with that card as well as Lantern did fairly well with that card as well.
Definitely.
I think Lantern has fallen off the maps. I'm not really considering it as really a threat.
I think Lantern was just there to say, you know what, Eldrazi, let's not play a game of Magic.
Yeah, Eldrazi, how about
Let's just sit here and draw cards.
Eldrazi? Can we just sit here? Is that okay?
I mean, we could go to a draw, right?
Yeah.
Or I'll win
win.
game 1, and then we'll just sit here for like the next 20 minutes
Sure.
for game 2, and then I'll take a 1-0.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
So like I said, Grixis is in a really strong spot. I feel like so we will be seeing a lot of Grixis in this meta.
Mhm.
And there's another big deck that I'm not thinking about right now. What is it? I don't know. It's gonna come to me as soon as we end the stream, and I'm gonna be like, I should have said it. Now people are gonna think that I'm dumb, but people already think that I'm dumb because I don't know how
You already forgot, don't
living
you?
in works.
Suspend works.
I mean, same
In
thing.
general.
Potato, tomato, whatever. Potato.
I mean, definitely, Affinity is one of those decks, and I mean, I've talked with the Affinity players. He's like, you know, from turn 2, I've got to decide whether I go for the Infect Winner or do I go for straight out Damage Winner, kind of thing.
Yeah, I played Affinity for a period in time. I definitely think it's a very hard mechanical deck to play. Get it, mechanicals, because it's robots. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Anyways, I definitely think that it is a skill-based deck.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not a deck that I think it's like, oh, you play this deck, you win.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you generally know what to expect, and I mean, the better players that beat Affinity, either one are playing against a bad player, or they can at least run through the same processes that their opponent is.
And of course, we're going to see Merfolk at this event.
Fish!
We see Fishies at pretty much any event.
Is that the deck you were thinking of?
No, it's not. Because Fish is bad, in my opinion.
Don't.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I'm just trying
So,
to give you ideas. At this
I do
point.
want to let you guys in on a little, kind of like a little hint. A buddy of mine from the shop that we play at, he's been brewing a very, very spicy blue-red list.
Okay. The one I've had to play like 3 times now.
No,
No?
actually, another blue-red list.
Ooh.
The deck is a lot of fun. It's janky, which is why I like it. But I think it's janky on the same level as Death Shadow, where it's just very versatile and can just do a lot of stuff. And can kind of blow you out of the water if you're not really paying attention.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely think maybe I'm trying to convince them to come to Charlotte with it and play around with it, and hopefully we can kind of get some playtesting in with that as well.
Well, I mean, there's always was it TCG Player States this weekend?
That is true. TCG Player States for yeah.
Yeah, I'm debating about playing since I can't go to GP.
I think you should.
We'll see.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So in kind of wrap-up stages here, the next podcast we're going to be doing is going to be
Most likely a recap of what he did at Charlotte and getting face rolled.
getting face rolled very hard.
Or being super salty about being 17th.
Yeah, can we not talk about this guy? So we were at States, Star City States.
Yeah.
And I was 17th place. I was one away from top 16. I was pretty salty that day. I'm not gonna lie.
I had to listen to it all the way home.
This guy put up with it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm over it now. But I'm annoyed.
Twist it up.
I'm so annoyed. Like so close to top 16.
Yep.
this.
So it'll be definitely a recap of Charlotte. We could probably talk a little bit more about what we're planning to do in the steps ahead.
And
Because I mean, this is kind of just going to be an ongoing project of where we discuss metas, events, maybe opinion pieces based on what's happening in the Magic community.
Yeah.
We're both level 1 judges, so we could definitely talk about, maybe interesting rulings on cards or
Getting shown up by viewers on
Yeah, that's
rulings
true.
on cards. That's an option.
That's okay. Yeah.
Because apparently, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, and then I have complicated things like resolving, what was that card? Hollowed Moonlight and... What's that card from Cons? See the Unwritten. Oh my god. That card with Hollowed Moonlight and Xenagos God Rebels.
Because Commander players.
No, it was standard at
What?
the time. It was standard. It was at States.
All right. So
So then we have that kind of jank to deal with.
You're only a couple of judges, man.
only a couple.
We're only
Only.
two.
Only 2. But with the powers combined, we probably...
We form a Lyle.
Do we?
Well, he's a level 2. We're 2 level 1s. I have a beard.
All right. I got a little bit of... we'll try.
And then I'm roughly the size of Lyle.
All right. So
we
let's-
just add your experience and, your extra few inches of height.
yeah.
And
So
we
it's,
become a Lyle.
it's great. So we're just a Lyle. Subscribe. Thanks, man. Thanks for the subscribe. We appreciate it.
Hopefully we'll dress this pretty thing up eventually once we get graphics made and stuff like that.
But definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Mike said, we're just going to be kind of recapping everything after Charlotte.
And
Kind of
then
talking about
doing more fancy things.
going forward, and also anything spicy we saw at Charlotte, or I saw at Charlotte, because I'm sure I'm going to see quite a bit of spicy things.
Yes.
Like
goblins.
if I see goblins there, I'm gonna laugh a little bit.
Andy tries so hard to make goblins.
Is Andy going to GP Charlotte?
I don't know.
All right, we'll find
But
out.
I know he keeps trying to make goblins work.
I know, man. I know. And,
I like goblins. I really
and
do.
there's a possibility we're going to be looking at a glimpse of standard in the future. Possibly. Actually, really good chance of it. We'll be discussing standard metas as well as modern metas. Just this one's been modern specific because of GP Charlotte.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, guys, we're kind of at the end of our rope. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. And we'll see you guys all next time, all right? Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Down there. There's a link. There's a hyperlink to it. Click it. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll add our we'll build a Facebook and a blog to go along with this as well.
And
So it's a whole package ordeal.
yeah,
A whole package.
we'll be posting updates on how bad I'm doing at Charlotte on that Twitter page.
Yes.
So if you want to laugh at me live, follow that Twitter.
I could totally get behind that.
Horny Toad
Yes.
wins all standard. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's Get Rod, but I'm assuming.
Good luck at GP. Thanks, man. Vampires. Gonna see a lot of vampires at Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or standard vampires. I don't know.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, guys. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks.